A ghost from the past takes flight. Some jobs are clean. You sit in an office, you type on a keyboard, and at the end of the day, you go home with clean hands. Then there are the other jobs, the ones that get you covered in grease sweat and the dust of ages. Restoring a piece of history is one of those jobs. It's hard, messy work, but somebody's got to do it. At the Military Aviation Museum in Virginia, they've done something truly remarkable. A ghost from the Second World War, the Mitsubishi A6M Zero Model 32-0, brought back to life. Not a static hangar piece, a living roaring warbird you can see fly. Seeing this airplane is like looking through a window into another time. It once dominated the skies. It was a symbol of ambition and technological prowess. For many, an object of fear, a swift, deadly opponent, a plane that changed air combat overnight. Today it stands as testament, incredible engineering and people who won't let its story fade. The museum team didn't just rebuild an airplane, they resurrected a legend, preserving the clatter, the smell, and the soul. To understand why this airplane is so special, you have to go back in time. We're talking about the late 1930s, a period of growing tension around the globe. The Empire of Japan wanted to expand its influence across the Pacific, and to do that, it needed control of the skies. The Japanese Navy issued a challenging set of requirements for a new carrier-based fighter. They wanted a plane with incredible range, blistering speed, and unmatched agility. It also needed to be armed with powerful cannons. Many manufacturers at the time thought the demands were impossible to meet, but one company, Mitsubishi, and its chief designer Jiro Horikoshi, took on the challenge. They had to rethink everything about how an airplane was built. The key was to make the plane as light as humanly possible. They used a top-secret aluminum alloy called Extra Super Duralumin, which was strong but incredibly lightweight. They did away with things that were considered standard on other military planes: armor plating for the pilot, self-sealing fuel tanks. Every single ounce was shaved off the design to maximize performance. The result was the Mitsubishi A6M, which the Allies would later nickname the Zero. When it first appeared in the skies over China in 1940, it was a complete shock. Allied pilots had never encountered anything like it. The Zero could outclimb, outrun, and most importantly, outturn anything they had. It had an astonishing combat range of over 1,600 miles, allowing it to escort bombers on long-distance missions and project Japanese air power far across the vast Pacific Ocean. For the first year of the Pacific War, the Zero was the undisputed king of the sky, an almost mythical warrior that seemed invincible. The Zero became a powerful symbol of Japan's military might and a source of intense national pride. The aircraft's success from Pearl Harbor to the Philippines and the Dutch East Indies was staggering. It swept aside Allied air forces. The Zero wasn't just a machine, it was a psychological weapon that carved its name into military history with brutal efficiency. The story of this particular Zero, tale number 3148, is a survival story in itself. It's not a plane that was gently retired and put in a museum. It's a warrior that was lost to the world for decades. Its journey back to the sky began not in a pristine workshop, but deep in the dense, humid jungles of Babbo, Indonesia. For nearly 50 years, the airplane lay abandoned, consumed by the forces of nature. Vines grew through the cockpit, metal skin corroded under tropical rains. Its history was being erased by the jungle. Finding a wreck is one thing, getting it out is another. Imagine trekking through remote, unforgiving terrain, battling insects, battling heat, battling mud. In the early 1990s, a recovery team did just that. They documented the site carefully. Then began the painstaking disassembly. It was a delicate archaeological excavation. Every piece, no matter how small or corroded, was a clue. Each part was cataloged as a critical component for the future. The recovered pieces were shipped halfway around the world, first to Russia. A specialized restoration team began the monumental initial work. They were faced with a puzzle: twisted metal, corroded parts, gaping holes. The challenge? What was salvageable? What could be repaired? What had to be recreated from scratch? The initial phase focused on stopping decay and laying foundations for years of work. Eventually, the project reached the Military Aviation Museum. The vision wasn't a static display. The goal was to make the Zero fly again. The project became a quest for authenticity. Every part, every system, every repair had to be perfect for airworthiness. The battered wreck, pulled from a forgotten jungle, was now on the path to becoming a living, breathing testament to its own incredible history. The final stages of a restoration like this are where everything comes together. It's a symphony of different skills. Metalworkers, fuselage, metalworkers, wings, mechanics, engine mount mechanics, connecting fuel lines, mechanics, connecting oil lines, mechanics, connecting control cables, electricians, wiring navigation lights, electricians, wiring cockpit instruments. Every person has a specific job, but they all must work together in perfect harmony. One misplaced wire, one loose bolt. It's a high-stakes puzzle with no room for error. Long days and late nights in the hangar, the sound of drills, the smell of fresh paint, quiet concentration of the team pouring over historical documents, matching exact colors and markings, painting the aircraft's identity, its historical uniform, markings of the 204th Naval Air Group, a tribute to the pilots. Tension builds, anticipation of the first engine start, ground crew with fire extinguishers at the ready, the pilot going through the pre-start checklist, a cough of smoke and a sputter. The propeller begins to turn. The sound grows into a deep, thunderous roar that shakes the hangar. A magical, emotional moment, the sound of history unleashed, the sound of success. Thousands of hours of dirty, difficult work, engine tests, then taxi tests, taxi wheels rolling. The day of the first flight. Test pilot eases the throttle forward. The plane rolls down the runway and gathers speed. The plane lifts gracefully into the air. Restoration team watching from the ground. Pure emotion. Their project is no longer parts in a hangar. It is a living, breathing airplane soaring where it belongs. A testament to skill, patience, and unwavering dedication. There's a world of difference between seeing a historic airplane in a museum and seeing one fly. It starts with the sound. The roar of that Pratt & Whitney engine is a deep, guttural sound that you feel in your chest. It's the sound of power. The voice of a machine built for a singular, intense purpose. It lifts off, and you're struck by its grace. Designed to be agile. You see it in every movement. It climbs with an authority that still impresses today. It banks and turns against a blue Virginia sky. You get a glimpse of what Allied pilots must have felt 80 years ago. You can see why it was feared. Watching from the ground, you become part of a shared moment. Veterans, families, kids, aviation nuts, and everyone is looking up. For a few minutes, distractions fade away. No text messages, no emails, just the sight and sound of this machine carving through the air. You hear gasps as it makes a low pass down the runway. You see parents pointing to their children trying to explain. It's a communal experience that connects generations. For me, seeing that Zero fly is powerful and emotional. It's a reminder of incredible ingenuity and the terrible cost of war. You think about the young men on both sides who flew these. You think about the designers who pushed boundaries. You think about the restorers who poured their hearts into bringing this back. It's a humbling experience. So you might be asking yourself, why go to all this trouble? Why spend countless hours and a small fortune to get one old airplane flying again? It's a fair question. The answer is that this Zero, and other planes like it, are much more than just old machines. They are tangible connections to our past. They are three-dimensional history books that you can see. They are three-dimensional history books that you can hear. They are three-dimensional history books that you can feel. Reading about the Pacific War is one thing. Seeing the machine that defined the first year of that conflict fly over your head is something else entirely. These flying museums also serve as incredible educational tools. When a young person sees the Zero fly, it sparks curiosity. They might ask, what is that? Why is it special? This opens the door to a conversation about history. This opens the door to a conversation about science. This opens the door to a conversation about engineering. You can talk about the brilliant design of Jiro Horikoshi. You can explain the strategic importance of air power in World War II. You can discuss the sacrifices made by an entire generation. Furthermore, keeping these planes flying is a tribute to the people who designed them. Tribute to the people who built them. Tribute to the people who flew them. It honors the veterans who faced these machines in combat. And it honors those who flew them. It recognizes the human element behind the history. Every rivet in that airframe was put there by a person. Every flight had a pilot in the cockpit, often a young man far from home. We create a living memorial that reminds us of the human side of history, both the triumphs of innovation and the tragedies of conflict. And let's be honest, there's another reason we do it. It's because these machines are just plain cool. They represent a golden age of aviation, a time when the designs were daring and the pilots were heroes. There's a romance to the propeller-driven Warbirds of World War II that modern jets just can't replicate. They are beautiful, they are powerful, they are a little bit dangerous, they capture our imagination. In the end, it all comes down to preservation. But we're not just preserving metal, fabric, rubber. We are preserving memory. We are preserving stories that need to be told. WWII is moving from living memory into the history books. The veterans who can tell us firsthand are leaving us. That makes these flying machines more important than ever. They are not just relics, they are ambassadors from a different time, carrying the lessons of the past into the future. Museums like the Military Aviation Museum are the guardians of this legacy. When you support a museum like this, you're becoming part of that promise, helping buy the fuel, the spare parts, and the specialized tools needed to keep history flying.